April 23rd in history. In 1014, High King Brian Boru ruled Ireland, facing a Viking and Leinster alliance threatening his power. On Good Friday, two armies converged near Dublin. The Irish forces clashed with Norse and Leinster warriors in fierce combat at Clontarf. Brian's army broke the alliance, driving Vikings into the sea in a decisive rout. Though Brian Boru was slain in his tent by a fleeing Viking, his victory ended Norse dominance in Ireland. He became Ireland's greatest legendary king. In 1564, a child was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, an age of theatre, plague, and Renaissance ambition. A boy christened William Shakespeare on April 26 would grow to write 38 plays and 154 sonnets, reshaping the English language and the entire art of storytelling. Shakespeare's works have been translated into every major language, performed more than any dramatist in history, and remain the foundation of world literature 4 centuries on. In 1616, William Shakespeare lived in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, playwright, poet, and the greatest wordsmith of his age. On April 23, 1616, his 52nd birthday, Shakespeare died, closing a life that had opened on the very same date. Today, April 23, is UNESCO's World Book Day, honoring Shakespeare, Cervantes, and the enduring power of storytelling. In 1635, colonial Boston was a young settlement hungry for learning. Puritan leaders gathered to establish something revolutionary, a school for all. On April 23, Boston Latin School opened its doors, America's first publicly funded school, teaching Latin, rhetoric, and classical thought to boys of all backgrounds. Its alumni shaped a nation: Franklin, Hancock, Adams. Boston Latin proved public education could forge citizens, seeding the ideals behind American democracy. In 1789, a new nation held its breath. George Washington, hero of the Revolution, was making his way to New York City, the young republic's first capital. On April 23, Washington crossed New York Harbor on a grand ceremonial barge. Cannon salutes boomed, crowds cheered from the docks, and the nation welcomed its first president. 7 days later, Washington took the oath of office, the first of 47 inaugurations. That harbor crossing marked the peaceful transfer of power America still practices today. In 1858, a child was born in Kiel, Germany, into a world of classical physics where light flowed in waves and energy moved smoothly, without interruption. In 1900, Planck made a desperate theoretical leap. Energy is not continuous, it comes in discrete packets called quanta. Classical physics would never recover. Planck's quantum theory seeded all of modern physics: lasers, semiconductors, MRI scanners, and our understanding of atoms traced directly back to his 1900 insight. In 1896, New York City buzzed with curiosity. At Coster and Bial's Music Hall, audiences gathered expecting something extraordinary: moving pictures projected on a giant screen. The Vitascope projector roared to life, casting waves crashing on a beach onto the massive screen. Audiences gasped, lunged back. Cinema became a shared public spectacle for the very first time. That single night launched America's film industry. From peephole novelty to communal art form, cinema reshaped culture, and the United States would dominate filmmaking for generations. In 1920, the Ottoman Empire lay shattered by war. Mustafa Kemal rallied Turkish forces in Ankara, defying foreign occupation and imperial collapse. On April 23, the Grand National Assembly convened in Ankara. Delegates took their seats, declaring the people's sovereignty and laying the foundation of a new Turkish state. The assembly became the seed of the Turkish Republic, founded in 1923. April 23 is now National Sovereignty and Children's Day, celebrated across Turkey every year. In 1928, Santa Monica, California, a nation on the brink of hardship. The Great Depression loomed, and America desperately needed joy. Born April 23, 1928, Shirley Temple dazzled Hollywood by age 6, singing, tap dancing her way to become the world's top box office star from 1935 to 1938. President Roosevelt said America would be fine as long as it had Shirley Temple. Her dimples and spirit lifted a suffering nation through its darkest decade. In 1967, the Soviet Union raced to beat America to the moon. On April 23, cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov climbed aboard Soyuz 1, a spacecraft engineers knew was dangerously flawed. Soyuz 1 suffered failures immediately. Solar panels stuck, controls unresponsive. On re-entry the next day, the parachutes tangled and failed. Komarov became the first human to die during a space mission. Komarov's death exposed how space race pressures had fatally overridden Soviet safety culture. His sacrifice forced reforms that reshaped spaceflight safety standards for decades to come. In 1971, America was fracturing over Vietnam. Hundreds of veterans, men who had fought and bled, descended on Washington, D.C. to be heard. On April 23, veterans stepped forward one by one, hurling Purple Hearts, Bronze Stars, and distinguished flying crosses over the Capitol fence, weeping, trembling, letting go. Broadcast nationally, the images shook the country. Decorated soldiers rejecting their own honors became the defining symbol of a generation's disillusionment with war. In 1984, a deadly mystery had gripped the world for 3 years. Hospitals were overwhelmed, communities devastated, and scientists raced to identify an invisible killer. On April 23, Secretary Margaret Heckler stood before cameras announcing Dr. Robert Gallo had identified the retrovirus causing AIDS, promising a vaccine within 2 years. The announcement galvanized global research, though credit was later shared with French scientists Montagnier and Barré-Sinoussi, who won the 2008 Nobel Prize for the same discovery. In 2005, the internet was about to change forever. A young engineer named Jawed Karim visited the San Diego Zoo with a simple idea: share a video online. On April 23, Karim stood before the elephant enclosure and recorded 18 seconds of footage, then uploaded it to a brand new site called YouTube. That humble clip sparked the world's biggest video platform. Today, YouTube hosts billions of videos, reshaping media, culture, and how humanity tells its stories.